we have become a country of jokers. We joke even with our own lives. Forget about even poison in the name of food, which is coming to Kenya from outside. Even here, when you buy a fruit from the market, chances that it was ripened using chemicals
are so high.
Are very high. People are dipping bananas in drums in Meru to bring them to Nairobi, and everybody is seeing. And we are behaving like nothing is happening. We want to kill ourselves. It is a will. It is a knowledge. It's a love of country and humanity. It's a question of values. It's a question of knowing as I look aside the other way because I've been given 50,000, allowing a man to sell poison to my fellow countrymen, to humanity. It's a question of values. It's a question of where we have elevated money to. For money, a Kenyan will do anything. The African does not love himself. The African allows himself to be the laughing stock of the world. The African opens himself to exploitation. The African never enters into a deal with the African in mind. The African is like a child who, when given a sweet, just laughs. There is no trade agreement between an African country and China or Europe that is in the interest of the African. It is sad and it's tragic. So it's not China. There isn't a simple trade agreement between us and anybody that's in our interest.
What substantial gains has Kenya made with regards to consumer protection? Besides, what sectors of the Kenyan marketplace have been most affected by consumer safety malpractices? Well, that forms the basis of our conversation today here on Business Glide. And as always, I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenja. And to help me dissect into this subject is none other than the phenomenal public scholar, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's start from the world of breweries. You've seen East African Breweries Limited is celebrating 100 years of existence and thriving. Perhaps begging our first area of concern, which is the brewers industry. You've seen increased cases of illicit alcohol making way into the Kenyan marketplace and also counterfeit that. Well, shockingly enough is that these very same products are bearing stickers of the Kenya Revenue Authority. Does that speak into a potential tunnel of graft around Kenya KRA with regards to seeing substandard goods in the market?
I don't even want to call it corruption or graft. This is just cheapness. I don't think KRA has a problem netting these crooks. This is a simple thing. Because these are not products you sell from your pocket.
Definitely.
These are things you put on shelves. And just one soup, in one day, they can net all these crooks. So I think it's connivance from KRA.
But we have inspectorate divisions under KRA which should look into the issue of how stickers bearing KRA tags have found themselves in the hands of such unscrupulous traders.
Yes.
How do you explain such?
You know, we live in this country. The truth is, when you work in that department, even if you enter today, if somebody identifies you today as you talk well on this show, so let's hire this guy. So you go to that department. I'm sure if I meet you after a year, you may not even want to greet me. The car you'll be driving, it's obvious we know.
Inside job.
Yeah, so these guys make money from, they can come and challenge me in broad daylight.
All right.
We know it.
Kenya is currently experiencing high cost of living and food prices are leading the charge with regards to the pricing regime that's happening. And this begs the question, Kenya had its position on GMO foods, genetically modified organisms, and it had actually banned them. Would you say now that even what's in the market is already substandard goods, majority of that, we should probably consider going for GMO foods at the expense of food security?
How? I will never support this. We are not there. We don't have the science. We don't have the technology to handle these GMOs and the rest. And yet, because we are not even facing any danger of food insecurity. Food is all over. We are just behaving badly. That's all. Even at the lowest if you want to argue. There could be some parts of this country where people are dying of hunger and starvation. And the other parts where people are throwing away food.
Surplus.
You know, just marketing, transport, awareness. You know, they're just simple things.
All right.
And we just need to do simple things for people to get good, clean food. Not these GMOs. And then because we are not careful with what happens in the manner in which FDA in America operates, there's all manner of things coming into this country.
Definitely.
All manner of bad foods.
We'll get that, sir.
Yeah.
So in short, you're saying we cannot compromise food safety over us trying to address the food security concern?
I don't get that question properly.
Yeah, we cannot go for GMO foods just because we are trying to meet the food shortage crisis in
Why
the
would
country.
you go for GMOs? Where is the need?
High productivity levels.
What high productivity? We are a population of 50 million people with arable land, with land which can be fed on actually, we can use just rain. We don't even need irrigation to have more food than we need. So what is the problem?
Or science.
Problem. Yeah.
I see. You are talking about issue of importations that are coming in, and it begs the question of the integrity of port logistics in Kenya. I mean, Hassan Joe is the governor of Mombasa. Will you say that, in as much as we are complaining about substandard goods making way into the Kenya, he's the first eye with regards to what's coming in? Should he do much more than what he's already doing?
I think the port and what comes into the country is not under Johor or the county of Mombasa.
Definitely.
That's under the national government, and there are agencies, there are departments, there are ministries in charge, which are either sleeping or colluding with people who are selling poison to Kenyans.
But he has a say in just making sure the authorities care at the port is leaving to its...
He has no supervisory role over them. Absolutely none. And I'm not saying if he had, he could do anything. What
Really?
did Joe do? He also has a bath there. Really, basically what I'm trying to say is we have become a country of jokers. We joke even with our own lives. Forget about even poison in the name of food, which is coming to Kenya from outside. Even here, when you buy a fruit from the market, chances that it was ripened using chemicals
are so high.
Are very high. People are dipping bananas in drums in Meru to bring them to Nairobi, and everybody is seeing. And we are behaving like nothing is happening. We want to kill ourselves. There's so much cancer in this country that if you look at the level of development, what you might call civilization, the lifestyles, we haven't reached a point where these lifestyle diseases and cancer should be an issue. But they are already an issue. Accelerated by the bad foods we eat in this country, we consume. Under the watchful eyes under the eyes of government. You go to a market, inside there, they are ripening bananas and the drum is there, they are dripping in the chemical. People are harvesting mangoes and they are dipping in chemicals. You mean government can't see that? Even before we talk about things we import, which cannot be consumed in any other country in the world, even the poorest apart from Kenya.
I see. About port logistics, do we have some kind of legal room left for us, wiggle room I mean, for us to probably turn the tide around and make sure we restore the integrity and sanctity of that port logistics? You
know, we've been improving the port logistics. The port is not where it used to be.
Definitely.
It is taking it's much faster to process goods at the port, much faster. If somebody who worked at the port 20 years ago came back from retirement in Busia and went to Mombasa, they will be shocked. So we are far.
Yeah.
But we are talking about the finer details.
Inspector divisions.
We are talking about actual software. We are talking about values. We are talking about Kenyans who, because of money, can allow poison to enter the country in the name of food. Because they have been given money. And they know. But the problem of being a fool is that you don't know this will finally catch up with you in one way or the other.
All right. We have independent government agencies that are tasked with ensuring they safeguard consumers with regards to what they are accessing and consuming. We have the Kenya Pharmacy and Poisons Board. However, if you look at the medical sector, you will realize that most chemists around are not operating with the licenses. You've seen the case of Sipili dispensary in Laikipia, wrong diagnosis, harmful drugs in there being given to the consumers, the patients. Would you say that in a way, such agencies such as the Pharmacy Board has failed in inspecting regular checks of quality standards?
Don't even mention a clinic or a pharmacy. It is all over, it's everywhere. They are all manner of useless drugs, expired, fake.
Fake reagents?
They are all over. And so even when you look about Food and Poison Board, I don't know what you're talking about.
But there's a budget allocated for inspection checks to these very same agencies that they should go around.
It is not a budget. It is a will. It is a knowledge. It's a love of country and humanity. It's a question of values. It's a question of knowing, as I look aside the other way because I've been given 50,000, allowing a man to sell poison to my fellow countrymen, to humanity. It's a question of values. It's a question of where we have elevated money to. For money, a Kenyan will do anything. That's where we are. And that's why I keep saying, it's not something you can legislate. It's not something you can have agencies. No. It's not a question of inspectors. The same inspectors will go looking for money.
I see. All right. Will you say that coming up with cooperatives, for example, for dairy farmers in Uasin Gishu, will help in safeguarding their products, say them having access to milk tins that are recommended and so forth, and also inspection levels that will be done by the same cooperatives, that we go big on cooperatives across the country?
You know, there was a time when our cooperative movement was almost the biggest in the world, the best almost, or among the best. It changed lives. But the Kenyan thing came in. This one of squandering anything, scorched earth method. Destroy everything so long as you are making a shilling. So we know the benefits of cooperatives. People of my generation, they bought land, they built houses from their circles and everything, and corporate coffees.
KCC was KCC.
Yes, but we've destroyed all that. We know they are beneficial, but we know why they collapsed.
All right.
If now we can reintroduce the cooperative movement and upscale it, but take care of the things that destroyed the earlier cooperative movement, for any sector it will be a good thing. Welcome.
All right. Many people are skeptics towards Kenya Bureau of Standards scorecard this far. And if you look at their history, you've seen a not really marvelous exit of their past bosses. Kioko Mangelu, who is now deceased, Charles Ongwae, and now we have Lieutenant Colonel Bernard Njiraini at the head. However, is it a case of sabotage with regards to discharging its mandate that has made KEBS not really performing that well with regards to standardization and quality checks?
Set up a control unit. Put people there. And let those people know their signature is everything. They'll just use it to get money. Don't blame KEBS. It's all of them. All of them, small boys who work there are rich. Let them come and challenge me. All of them are rich. All the inspectors that must ensure things are done in this country, they all have made money.
Are you trying to say getting to the top of KEBS is more of a political appointment rather than
whether it's
based
a
on
political
competence?
or not? I'm saying once somebody is there, they cannot make a difference because that's a cash cow.
But you've trusted Kenya Defence Force with the discharging their mandate with utmost integrity. Now we have Lieutenant Colonel retired Bernard Njiraini. Does that portend a bright future for KEBS?
At the risk of glorifying KDF, I think if we borrowed from the KDF, from the military, and it's not just Kenyan, I think the military almost world over have the level of training and discipline that should be the enemy of everybody else. They are the discipline, the level of the work ethos of the military is perhaps what we need. So I don't blame Uhuru for putting these fellows in charge of certain things. Because we are just useless. You give a guy a job, instead of doing the job, he's looking at the money he will make out of that place.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Kenya has entered into bilateral trade agreements with many countries, and the most synonymous one here is China. You've seen Dennis Okari expose Chinese fish get into the Kenyan market with high levels of metal endowment in there. How will you explain that perhaps we are getting into bilateral trade agreements that most oftentimes don't work in our favor, other than are they jeopardizing the safety of our consumers here?
The African does not love himself. The African allows himself to be the laughing stock of the world. The African opens himself to exploitation. The African never enters into a deal with the African in mind. The African is like a child who, when given a sweet, just laughs. There is no trade agreement between an African country and China or Europe that is in the interest of the African. It is sad and it's tragic. So it's not China. There isn't a simple trade agreement between us and anybody that's in our interest.
In as much as you're trying to address our shortage on our side.
Yes. Which one? Show me one. All of these
Increased demand
are
of fish.
tilted heavily in favor of the other fellow, the other side. We don't seem to love ourselves.
Ambassadors are ripping off from that.
The ambassadors are just on holiday. I've said it repeatedly. They are not ambassadors. We don't have ambassadors. We just have tourists.
I see. All right. Under the Big Four agenda, President Uhuru Kenyatta has committed his administration with regards to upscaling and revamping our manufacturing sector. Will you say that that's a direction we need to take even at higher ground so that we get more self-reliance other than depending on imports, which oftentimes are substandard and they pose a risk to our consumers?
Once again, the African, he will destroy his industry.
Yeah, textile.
Textile, for example, leather, so that you can get cheap, substandard goods from China, India, and the rest. You see the African. You see what I'm talking about? It is pathetic. It is just tragic. You cannot talk of manufacturing while allowing all manner of imports. The sort of things that cannot be allowed in any other country, an African will allow. Even forget about if you're talking about electronics, about radiation levels. No, that is even too high. Certain things over which we stand to lose nothing but our own. Just ask your partner. We are giving you all the contracts. The trade here is 400 billion in favor of China, and we are only at 10 perhaps. What's so difficult with us pushing from 10 billion to 60, 70 billion, 100 billion? You remain with 500 billion. Bring in things worth 500 billion. Allow us in your market just 100 billion. And that can change. That can change the lives of many Kenyan farmers, for example. If we are allowed to import eggs, to export eggs to China, for example, avocado and these other things. What do we see instead? We get everything from them, they get nothing from us.
All right.
In fact, you can tell the Chinese, since you are in the construction industry, just remain there.
I see.
Yes. Let Kenyans bring whatever they want from China, but also take those things. Let me give you an example. And we also lack innovation and creativity. If we are to open coffee shops or tea shops in China towns, Chinese towns, you go to a town and this corner there's Fahari ya Kenya, Chai ya Kenya, Ketepa, Chai ya Kenya. We are selling both the tea leaves and actual tea. As simple as that. But McDonald's is making a lot of money across the world. We just did coffee shops, tea shops, where we sell Kenyan tea. You sip, you buy tea, sit down in the many corners of Chinese towns and sell Kenyan tea. The tea farmer in this country, their lives will be transformed beyond imagination.
All right. Yeah. So, Kenya is a strategic player and partner in the growth of business in the East African community. However, there is a section of Kenyans who are supporting the narrative that most of the substandard goods are actually coming from Tanzania and Uganda. Our porous borders to blame and the integrity at our border points. And how can we revamp and revitalize security systems in there to curb such?
What are substandard goods from Tanzania, Uganda? We allow substandard goods from our own port. Why do you want to blame Uganda and Tanzania for nothing? How much passes through Namanga or Busia or Malaba? Forget about it. Forget about it. It is us who are feeding the market. So it's us who could be said to be taking substandard things to Uganda. Tanzania.
Not the other way.
It cannot be the other way. We allow all this rubbish from China and India and Turkey and whatever. All these plastics.
Plastic rice.
Through our airports. Through our port in Mombasa.
And you want to say
under the eye, and we are seeing them. Then they are sold in Nairobi, we see them. How can you blame Tanzania?
So Namanga and Malaba has nothing to do with this.
Forget about it.
But in some way, we have to also upscale and beef up security at our
neighbors.
Points.
We must work with our neighbors, love them, allow them free entry, and they give us free entry.
All right.
Yeah, even a border between Kenya and Uganda is a waste of time. There should be no border.
I see.
You just
So
pass with whatever you have.
the bigger devil
If a
lies.
Ugandan is coming to sell maize to Uganda, how can it be substandard?
The bigger devil is far away,
Yes.
not here within.
No. Don't look for anything in Uganda. Oh, they are destroying our economy. No, it is our Zungu and our China wanatumaliza.
I see. Well, that point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of our conversation today on Business Glide, talking matters consumer protection and also matters to do with standardization and quality checks that should be made available to safeguard the Kenyan consumer. Well, at this point, we take you to our fan of the week, who is Father Paul Seymour in Kapkoi Parish.
Father Paul Seymour from Kapkoi Parish, Haujambo. We are very happy, Father, that you are joining this family. Thank you very much. Asante sana, Father.
All right, make sure you get posted on our African proverb of the day that comes up on your screen immediately after this conversation is done. And also contribute towards our magazine, that is
NairobiReview.Africa.
All right, make sure you send your business articles,
and
political
read
articles.
Real serious business articles, political opinion articles, and write yours. You can send them to NairobiReviewLimited@gmail.com.
All right, remember our audience is broad enough that we'll make sure your article gets the right audience and stakeholders that should be addressed therein. Until next time, God bless you. My name is Richard Mwenja.